Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new video. My name is Alexa Disventure Camp, and today I'll be deep diving into the brand new trailers for Disventure Camp Season 4, Carnival of Chaos, the season and episode 1 trailer. Before this begins, a few things to note. By the time this video is released, the episode could be released on Patreon. I do not have Patreon, and I have not seen the episode at the point of this recording. The background footage and images are not owned by me, they are owned by Odd Nation Cartoons. If you have different analyses or opinions on all of this, it's completely fine. I would love to read your different perspectives or any of your own thoughts in the comments down below. I do sections in my videos to maintain organization and simplicity, and those are the trailer analysis and conclusion. My voice might sound a bit off for this video. That is because I am sick. I hate the bad circumstances, but either way, let's get this analysis started.
But when you have to fight this male-dominated world, you tend to learn a few tricks.
I won't be going in the order of what is shown in the trailer, instead an estimated time frame. For example, I'll go over the images that I predict to happen in episode 1 before the images I predict to happen in episode 2, or scenes if you want to word it like that. I am also assuming that the season trailer is over the first 4 episodes. Episode 1, starting with explaining the basics of the game, more like a welcome back with Trevor and Derek, showcasing the carnival backgrounds, which I must add are so pretty. Cutting to the intro in the plains, we get to see close-ups of each of the contestants, whilst also getting to see our teams, differentiated with the blue and red colors. Flags showcase fire and water assemblies, as we'll see later, so I will respectively call the teams that. The fire team includes Diego, Hannah, Ivy, Spencer, Tristan, Zaid, Jade, Benji, and Amelie. The water team includes Richard, Logan, Marissa, Linda, Natalia, Alysso, Ted, Isabel, and Anastasia. A brand new addition to the season is being able to see the contestants outside of the competition with actual clips through their introductions. Marissa is the first example, as we see her strength training, then with Linda and her being a housewife, Isabel and her doing TikTok dances. I'm getting flashbacks to episode 14 of season 3. I can't. But also, I'm taking this as confirmation she works, or at least is near Fiore's boarding school. Thus, where's the double reading when you need it? Spencer studying as an advantage for the game, and also because it was his more life mission. Amelie becoming a CEO of a wedding planning business. Ivy throwing shade at Rhea while being a successful musical theater performer. She won't become evil, trust. I love this addition because it adds another layer to the contestants, and especially since the season is going to be 26 episodes with this cast minimum, it helps. Diego was given the map. I assume Trevor and Derek gave the teams a brief, and we get to see Emily's return before the scene occurs, and the fire team arrives at their camp. As Hannah breaks up Ivy and Amelie, I don't know what they're talking about or fighting or whatever, being a peacemaker in a way, first impressions lead to the 4 of Diego, Jade, Spencer, and Amelie grabbing some wood for shelter purposes. Diego and Jade interact, bonding over their love of nature as Amelie puts in legit no effort as Spencer struggles to hold their side of the log. She then lets go where Spencer falls. Diego helps Spencer out, probably beginning their dynamic, while Jade moves the log off of Spencer. This would also cause tension between these 3 and Amelie, which it comes back later, so. Back to the main camp, Hannah and Benji begin forming somewhat of a good possible bond. Possible ship? I didn't expect it at all, but I'm cool with it. We'll see. Zaid had gone off to grab some ingredients to make food for the camp and for the campers, with Ivy joining him. She think it'd be a fun experience. And another ship! It'll be more shown later on, but dang, this entire team is full of possible romantic relationships. Well, at least 3 of them. And the fan favorites, every time this team loses, it'll be a frenzy. Anastasia starts off by being a diva and having her dynamic with Marissa. Annoyed with somebody, my assumption is Linda, as shown later, likely from strategy or simply first impressions. Ted is chatting with another member of the team, however, information is being kept from him, as someone stated through his voice line. Who is he talking to is the real question. I'd say Richard. Alicia was purposely alone. Natalia and Isabel are already shown as a duo, so they're probably off interacting. We've already covered Anastasia, Marissa, Linda, and Logan is too much of a wild card. It's a possibility, but I'd lean more towards Richard. Back to the fire team, where Hannah is bringing back some sticks, volunteered to do so. That way everyone else can have fun with the yoga, so join later with them. And the four got the tree to camp, where Amelia has been using the provided machete to cut it up for the tribe. And my guess is she didn't want to join the yoga. The rest except Jade, for some reason. I guess she's just chilling somewhere alone. We're doing exercises with Diego, while Spencer and Benji are both uninterested/confused. While doing this, Ivy trips and Zayd catches her. By the way, Ivy's outfit, or fit if you want to call it that, is so pretty. After all of this team bonding and first impressions, we go to the two teams arriving for the challenge, which is confirmed from the episode 1 trailer to be this. Firstly, each team must work together in order to find and put the objects around the carnival in their original, such assigned locations. Afterwards, the entire team needs to go onto a roller coaster, which looks so fun by the way, to grab 4 flags through the loops or place different places on it. Once all the flags are grabbed and the ride is over, the teams need to get off the roller coaster and organize the flags in the correct order. That will win reward. Out of a 26-episode season, assuming that this is a final 3 as per usual at Disventure Camp, and that there are no twists, they will happen. But at this point, you can't really predict that, or which twists that will happen, meaning 11 episodes are nods, and that's almost half the entire season. Given the track record from Disventure Camp Season 1 and Disventure Camp Season 3, I think it's a very safe bet that this episode is going to be a non-elimination. Through this challenge, we get to see Natalia and Isabel working together, Linda and Ted beginning their dynamic, and Alicio has inspiration for his art, going off by himself to paint during the challenge. Not good strategy if this prediction reigns to be true, but you know. Logan sees it, impressed and giving suggestions as he is thrown off guard, which causes Richard and Logan to laugh together, beginning their own father and son dynamic. Going to the fire team, Tristan, Ivy, and Zayd are working together. Spencer, Diego, and Jade are with one another. Her more to the side, which I think is interesting, but I do hope to see her come out of her shell eventually. And here, they're just bonding, dynamics are settling in. Each team finishes setting the objects, and they all get onto the roller coasters. Everyone having varying reactions. Personally, I would be having the time of my life, and they all grab their flags. Fire team finishes with Ivy leading them off, as everyone begins running to get the flags in order into the location. Spencer takes every single one for the fire team, given his knowledge and him thinking he can do it. This is where all the episode 1 clips end, but if I'd have to theorize, I like to think Spencer gets the win. Call it bias for him being my favorite, but I do think it let his knowledge shine and makes sense for him sticking around longer, rather than the plot armor from his dynamic with Diego. Meaning, fire team gets the reward, and as stated earlier, non-elimination. Something that might be wondered is why on earth am I doing episodes 2's challenge as the one on the train, different location, fear challenge? Simple. Remember the image where Emily is shaving Richard's head? Look, this has a point. Well, look no further than the full team screenshot from the water team. Richard no longer has that hair, meaning this challenge has to happen before for continuity's sake. A weird way to figure it out, but still. And it could be an animation error, but given that it'll be a continuity error too, I don't see it happening. Well, then again, we get the Tristan doppelganger thing, so who knows? What this also means, we see every competitor in episode 3's challenge, which I am assuming is the season 1 episode 4 reference/bathing suit challenge. And I've heard people say Amelie and Alicio aren't there, which no, you could see Lily here in this image. Diego's head just covering her at one time, and Alicio is right there. We'll dive into this more later, but the point here is that at minimum there are 2 non-eliminations, and that this episode specifically is a non-elimination. This is one we don't get to see much of, which I find interesting, but Emily gets to host the challenge, or rather, lead it. I wonder if this plays into the subplot of the season, or gets it rolling. Here, it is the contestants facing their biggest fears, or at least things they severely dislike, in order to get the win. Benji's fear is bugs, flies. Anastasia strangles Logan because, yeah, I don't know what he could have said to make her that mad. Maybe a comment on her fears, sort of like his comments on Alicia, but taken the wrong way. Diego fears chickens, as Spencer tries to help him get through it, paying back for what he had done help him for the log yesterday. Ivy has to confront earthworms. Ted has to go into a cold tub. Jade has to do math. So real though, but we get to see her intelligence and calm nature. And the aforementioned Emily shaves Richard's head. Now, I do have a little bit of a unique theory for how the non-elimination works here. A fake-out elimination, with whoever voted out staying but also getting a big decision in the game to throw a twist right out of the gates. Ted decides to target Isabel for not only her being good at challenges, giving give-ups to everyone, going under the radar, her duel with Natalia. Not many agree with this though, so he decides to manipulate the competition in his favor, using Linda and also blackmails Marissa, or at least gets her on his side and she feels bad, causing Isabel to go in the end. Gets to go to the twist, is saved, and makes a major choice in the game alongside one nominated from the winning team. I don't know, it's a bit of a wild guess, but I personally don't think it's happening as much as this elimination being in episode 3 specifically, and it being in first boots of the season, while the team decides to send Isabel to exile and mystery for who knows why, and who the other team sends is really a wild-carded decision, but it's always fun to just go crazy with some of these theories. Let's get to episode 3 though. Here is when we get to see Season 1, Episode 4 challenge return, except with the new cast, an equal playing field in terms of weapons. So, the rules remain the same. Contestants go against one another in duels. Whoever wins gets a point for their team. The team with the most points wins immunity. The first duel is Alicia versus Spencer, and as Spencer goes and tries to take a hit, failing and falling as Alicia front face stares into my soul. We can give a point to the water team here. The next duel is Marissa versus Diego, a lot more equally matched, but as Diego is struggling, Spencer offers some critiques and advice from his own failure in this competition, and that allows Diego to come on top. Ted cheers on and laughs at Marissa's hurt, and Anastasia, from expression, swears to get Ted gone. Or at least I assume she's mad because of the dynamic that we've seen them form to this point. At least through the trailers. Fire team gets a point. Isabel versus Hannah ends similar to the first battle. Isabel tries to get a hit, falls, and Hannah beats her. Another point to the fire team. Anastasia versus Benji is an easy, quick win from Anger, giving the water team a point. This lands in a current tie, 2-2, which we'll go over which team I think loses in a moment. After the competition, Spencer goes to talk to Diego more, trying to build a social game, after Jade probably encouraged it in some way, given that I think they'd begin interacting given not only the poster, but them being in this Jade helping. I just think it happened. I don't know. Wanting to gain more of a bond, also to make sure his strategy is good moving forward. Also to understand people. For elimination purposes, I'm going to dive into episode 4. We can see here certain competitors and can confirm they managed to make it through the first elimination. Those being, for the fire team, Amelie, Ivy, Benji, Hannah, Diego, Spencer, meaning Zayd, Tristan, and Jade are on the chopping block, or at least at risk. Water team, Marissa, Linda, Natalia, and Isabel, meaning Ted, Richard, Alicia, Logan, and Anastasia were at risk. I assume Water Team lost because of not only how dramatic the elimination ceremony was, but Amelie surviving. She has burned bridges with multiple people, has not fully socialized, and is overall, to me, somebody I don't see why they keep around over the others. Fire Team is also so much stronger. Sort of like the Killer Bass and Screaming Gophers from Total Drama Island. We can also get from Ted's expression that in no way he's going. Might have been a target, but he flipped that script. When Marissa stays, Anastasia does too, and given her ruthless gameplay and all the antagonists and the chaos, Anastasia ain't going anywhere. That leaves Richard, Logan, and Alicia. Richard and Logan have their plot. I also don't see why Ted would view Richard as a threat or somebody to get out at this point if he's not disturbing the team, and especially assuming that they did talk in that earlier episode as stated. I don't know. I could definitely see Richard being completely fine, meaning we have Logan and Alicia left. It's pretty equal to me on a few levels. Logan is definitely the more useful challenge and social player, but that makes him an early threat and one to get out instantly to make sure he doesn't become an issue later. Alicia might not have any decent or social physical game from what we've seen, not really focusing on the challenge and avoiding everybody, but that makes him a shield and not threat of sorts, and therefore somebody to keep around. I'm going to assume it's more Lucio because I think the others would view him not doing the challenges, not socializing as much more of an issue, but Logan would still go. Onto the actual dynamics of the elimination, Ted-Linda duo is going to be a force to be reckoned with, and I'm so excited for that. And Anastasia, Natalia, Marissa working together is awesome, but on the topic of Marissa, I think she was blackmailed from Ted-Linda, more on that later, and that is what will become the cause of tension between Anastasia and Marissa. So, elimination analysis aside, how about we go around into the final episode we do get to see? Episode 4. We don't get the chance to see much of episode 4 at all, though there are definitely a few things to go by. Natalia and Isabel being the duo as always. I am hoping here this is strategy in terms of Isabel's big decision. My number one hope is she is not a villain. Please, no. Amelia and Ivy are chatting a bit, which I think is interesting given the first scene we get with them, but I'm interested to see their dynamic, as small as it might end up being. Moving straight onto the challenge, everything to this episode happens at night. Season 3, episode 12 flashbacks, anyone? Reminding me of Total Drama Island's Paintball Deer Challenge, except with clowns. The clowns for the fire team are Benji, scared out of his mind, Spencer, who is having to hide and try to calm the others down. We don't get to see any of the others. However, we do get to see who has the paintball guns, or at least some of them. Isabel, Natalia, and Marissa for the water team, and for the fire team, we have Hannah and Diego. Marissa also makes an alliance of some kind or minimum agreement with Linda, which I think follows a blackmail towards Marissa, or at least causes rifts between her and Anastasia. However, Marissa is definitely setting herself up for the long game at this point, which I appreciate. Now the elimination. I am theorizing that this is where fire team loses. We see Benji get shot, and we see Spencer struggling to hide, almost getting shot himself. I feel that from tons of losses to this point, or at least 2 from what we've assessed, the water team would be out for vengeance, trying their hardest and winning. So who goes home in this instance? From prior analysis, I think it can be obvious that I think it's Amelia going here. Diego and Spencer are the main couple, and when you have that, you have this blissful thing called plot armor. Tristan as the first non-binary, I assume they wouldn't get them out so soon, especially as a second boot. Plus, Tristan has a doppelganger in the background, therefore they have 2 lives. Impossible to go. Hannah seems like she has way too much solid of a social game, her plot with Benji, and I don't think she can realistically head out here. Who would want that? Ivy also seems like such a blast to this point. She seems to have decent connections with 2 others, already 3 votes combined, plus her good seeming dynamics with even everybody else here. Also, she's one of my favorites, so I've gotta have faith in her. That leaves Zayd, Jade, Benji, and Amelie. I'm going to take off Zayd for multiple reasons. His dynamic with Ivy, the fact he cooks for the group, the fact he's a professional chef, and having the rad food for the rest of the pre-merge, or at least not as good, and especially with how early it is. Not to mention his dynamic with Tristan. I think he's fine. Jade is a wild card to me because yes, she does interact with Spencer and Diego, so you already got yourself at least a bit of plot armor. But otherwise, she's somewhat invisible. She distances. She isn't shown to interact with anybody else here, and I think that could be her downfall. I say she stays more than Benji or Amelie due to the fact she of the plot armor, but the possibility her coming out of her shell and the vitiligo diversity is really cool. Moving on to Benji. Yes, he has his plot with Hannah, but compared to Zayd and Ivy, he doesn't have as much social protection here. Not to mention Wishley. Will's first boot, here it's second, but you know, him being so scared about literally everything could also paint him as a target, but I don't think it's as bad as Amelia's. Amelia has not only just done help that much, leaving Spencer to have a log fall on him. Hannah does not get good vibes of her at all, at least we can estimate that from the expression, and I don't know how much Ivy truly does get to know Amelia, and I don't think that even if they did get to know each other, it would be enough to save her if it came down to it. She hasn't proven herself useful at all during these trailers for the challenges either, so I think it's pretty safe to say that Amelia could be done for. And that wraps up this trailer analysis, so on to the conclusion.
But when you have to fight this male-dominated world, you tend to learn a few tricks.
Something I really respect is how much strategy we're getting to see here, even in these trailers. More of a survivor gameplay really being added in, and I'm excited. Plus, given the positive track record of the first few episodes, Season 1, Season 3, and I guess kind of Season 2 with it, I think there's a lot of potential here that I hope to see get used. And that wraps it all up. I would again love to read your predictions in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching this video. Have a great day or night, depending on when you're seeing this.